Hello everyone, it's Tanya. I'm back. I'm going to do the final flip throughs of the small / medium antique photo album journals that I've created. They are in my Etsy, and then I'm going to do a full go through of the kits that are going to be posted in Etsy. I have a few little announcements to make. It's the following morning from the last video that I posted. I have worked so many hours. I got up really early this morning. I worked a little bit last night while I was waiting on the other video to process, but I've worked really hard going through and editing out the little tutorial that I did on my process of creating one of these photo albums. And so what I want to say about that real quick is, so I have decided that I am going to do the video of the tutorial, and I will send the link of that video to anyone who purchases one of the kits. I am, as of right now, only posting kits. I only have 3 that have actual small to medium covers with them. I am thinking about the option of doing some kits that don't have covers, because as I went through and edited this little tutorial, and I'll talk more about that when we're going over the kits, but as I went through and was editing that, I recognized how well so much of that applies to just repurposing a book and using the cover of an actual book, not a photo album. So I think that even if I sold kits, or even if you purchase a kit from some other Etsy, you can still create this style of journal without using an actual antique photo album. So anyway, with that being said, the other thing I want to mention is for anyone that's coming over here from Etsy to see, to look at what you're thinking about, I am putting timestamps below this video in the description so that you can just, you know, pop on the little timestamp and go straight to the flip through of whichever one. And I've done that on all of the videos with the small photo albums. So if you're not wanting to watch this whole video, then feel free to do that. And I'm going to start doing that on all of my videos, because I do talk and ramble a lot, and so many people, I do get sweet, precious comments from so many of you that say that you enjoy, you know, listening while you're crafting and that type of thing, and I so appreciate that. That's the way I am. For people that I actually feel like I can relate to and enjoy. But then there's a lot of people, or not a lot, I've had a couple of people reach out and say that I talk too much, which is fine. They don't have to watch, move on. But if they do choose to watch because they want to see the journal, I'll start posting the actual timestamp so that they can move forward to the journal. Okay, let's get started. I think I've got all that little stuff out of the way. So I'm going to start with ring, because I did start talking about ring in the video last night that I posted. And as I was explaining on ring, I named it ring because this was not functioning good as a closure for the original antique photo album. So I detached it and attached it as kind of a dangle here on the front cover, and it looks like a ring. And how cool is it? I didn't even notice this until this morning when I was pulling out the 2 that I had to do the ring and bell. So yeah, ring the bell. I love that. so that's the 2 I'm showing today. Okay, ring. Ring has this shield on the front. If you watch the video with pewter in it, it's very similar to pewter, except this cover is more of a burgundy style. It has a very, I think album I had mentioned had a very kind of a corduroy feel. This has more of a velvety feel on the back. On the front, it has rubbed down to where it's just pretty smooth. You can tell that it's fabric, but it's pretty smooth. This thing's been through its days, and hopefully I have now created a whole new life for it. I hope that was what I was going for. And yeah, so there's the outside. Now I did use, when I drilled the holes through the cover on this one, I ran through with these really cool beads. I pointed them out in one of the other photo albums. I've used them, I think, on 2, and I love these beads. I don't have any of them left. They're like glass, and they look like a view of Earth, planet Earth to me. They're just so dimensional. I don't know how well they're going to show up on camera, but they're so dimensional in person. I love these beads, and I just thought they went so well with the blue that I used as an accent on the spine. I have little fuzz everywhere here on my desk from, you can see it all over my desk from working. But anyway, this is the outside. I did some fringe. The fringe does move around, but I did some fringe on the outside as well. Hidden signatures. The stitching of the signatures is hidden, and I show how I do that in the little tutorial. I used vintage buttons and vintage fabric here. I tried to use such old items that I have in these, just because I think it's so cool for something that's been around for so long to then be the home of other items that have been around. And then on some of the items, I aged them myself, such as the rulers, to make them look well used and loved. So that's kind of the look I was going through with this. So yeah, I did a lot of the somewhat of a waterfall edge on most all of these, and yeah, vintage buttons on the front. I left the cover, inside cover and inside cover of the back original. They have all been wiped down, but they still look so grungy and just used. I love that. And here's the back of the book. So yeah, the original studs are in there, so I did not have to use buttons on this. Again, that's explained in the tutorial. If you purchase a kit and want to try to make one on your own, you can see that this ledger paper here is March 1st, 1881. And then down here, it's July 21st, 1883. It's already, you know, patinaed and aged. Grungy paper. This is some of the music paper. I do hinge all of my pages. I say this on all the flip throughs, but in case you're fast forwarding to the specific flip through, you need to know that any page that feels fragile, I do try to hinge with fabric so that they last a long time, and it just gives more reinforcement to where the stitches are going through the centers of the pages. I attached the wooden ruler here. You always have the option, because this is such thin paper, the ruler kind of wants to weight over the weight of the ruler. So on some of the journals, I created collages on the back, but I just love the way this music paper looked, so I chose not to do it on this one. You can always just collage over that to give this paper more stability. This is actual photo paper out of an old photo album. It's a larger one that had the black photo paper in it, and I've used this in a lot of the journals. I've torn them down and had them showing from the outside just for some visual interest. And then a lot of the pages I folded over to give you opportunities to add tabs or trims or edges for more dimension when you flip to that page. I'm starting to get chilly. I should have put my jacket on. Straw paper there. This is one of the photo album matte, photo matte pages, frame pages. I don't know what you call them. I was calling them cabinet cards. I know what cabinet cards are, but I thought this was a form of a cabinet card. I was corrected on that. Hanging out of the center of this first signature, I've done a tassel that actually went with that trim right there. And then on the bottom, I did one of the zipper pulls, and it still has the zipper on it. And then I'm going to be slipping my jacket on. Sorry, I'm freezing. It's cold this morning. And then I left the strings in the center of the other signatures as they are, so that you can add other charms, or if you want, you can let me show you one. If you don't want to add a charm, I've mentioned this in some of the other flip throughs, you can lay a strip of fabric across there, tie another knot, and it creates kind of a bow look out of the little piece of fabric. It's just a little extra accent, and then snip those off, and then you'll have long enough pieces to reuse for something else. Anyway, I just don't believe in wasting if I can avoid it. This is the paper ruffle coming down the edge there. Awesome dimension to the outside of the journal. A feather that I've sewn in, and then in my journal I had written, I had journaled in it, so I kind of put a little insert of what I had written in my journal. I just kind of reworded it a little bit, but it pertains to the feathers. So I said they shed their feathers like we shed our tears, not tears of sorrow, tears of joy, a perfect representation of a memory. So that's just kind of what feathers have become, you know, to mean to me. And I'll tell that story later. You know, there's a whole story about feathers for me in my life. But anyway, I've put one of the index cards there and I've reinforced this paper to give it more stability because of the weight of that card and everything. I put an index card on this side with fabric, and then on this side with tape. And then I put a little piece of the material in different places poking out that draws the eye over from what I used on the spine, so that when you're looking at it from the outside, you actually see these little tabs, and it just kind of draws the eye over. And then here I use this little grungy like embroidered style tag. The pinafore card with the envelope that has the wire closure on it, and I have that so that it's peeking out over the top. The other side of the ledger, doily there. I did the cluster there with the burgundy cameo and the tulle with these low rhinestone beads. And this is a cabinet card that is doubled and opens up. And then I kind of left the back of this open so that you could actually slide a photo into there and have that show through that picture frame that is original to one of these mini photo albums that had some in there. And then I reinforced it with some tape there. Some of the straw paper purchased from Rachel at Roxy Creations with some vintage eyelet. There's the center of that signature that I just mentioned. You'll see that on some of these pages, where's that ledger paper I just saw? You can see how it's kind of frayed. I love that. Again, it's just more dimension to the eye. In person, when you see that, it actually shows in person a little bit better. Vintage lace. You can see the fabric in between the signatures that just really blends in perfectly. More pages. You run a piece of tape here on that tear if you choose to. I actually like the look of that kind of stuff. You can add your own personality to it. This is another kind of piece of an insert that I had journaled in my journal, and I kind of wrote it in here and then smeared it a little bit so that you can pick up certain words. And one day when I do the flip through of my journal, I'll read these out. This one, you can't read it really well, and that's the way I intended it. Some of these are, I don't know, I just write down my personal thoughts on some things, and it's not for everybody. It's just the way I do it. Some beautiful rose trim there, and this frame page has this kind of a burgundy rosy tone on the edge of it, and I hinge it in there. I mentioned in some of the other flip throughs, but in case you skip by, this is so brittle it pops off. I've glued them back in place in some places. In some places I pop them on off and actually just glue them randomly on pages for visual interest. Oh, I doubled up this page for more stability. The straw paper, and here's a beautiful little pen up there. And I do, I'll talk about that more in the kit because there is one of these in all of the kits, but these pens have been a challenge for me. You can see that I kind of ran some tape behind that one. These pens keep wanting to pop open on these flowers. They're not hooking correctly. You can kind of jiggle with it and make it work right, which is what I was doing, and then I glue them and then put tape over them. But in the kits, I was worried that people would be working with those and poke themselves or something like that. So in the kits, I popped the pen off, and in some of these other journals, I did that as well and actually stitched the flower on. Just because I just, things like that bother me if it's something I feel like somebody can stick themselves with. There is the little, that's the end of the flip through. There is the little bow pen right there. I wasn't having that issue with these, so I left those as is, like that. So yeah, I wasn't having the issue with those. Oh, and then I did put a little bookmark in this one pocket where this card is sewn on. I left the top of that open, and I just wanted that touch of blue peeking out through the top to kind of tie all these blues together for this pop of blue that's coming down the spine. That's the flip through of ring. I'm going to go ahead and move forward with bells. So here's bells. Bells is one of my favorite ones that I've done. I really, for some reason, this one, well, I shouldn't say that because there was actually vintage and one other one that has sold already, but out of the ones that are left, bells is one that I was just really, really drawn to. Just having a hard time letting go of this one, but and I may end up, you know, if it doesn't sell, then it won't be gotten rid of, so it may end up being mine anyway. I use the ostrich eggshell beads, and I talk a lot about that in last night's video about how those are brittle. I don't expect these to last forever, but I think that as they break down, they're just such a beautiful look. As they start chipping with time and everything, they're beautiful. And at any point, the hole is drilled through the covers. And of course, I demonstrate all of this on the tutorials. I talk about all of this, but you can always go in if you don't like that and you're somebody that does this type of thing. It's not hard at all to go through and attach a button there. But I wanted the ostrich eggshell beads. I just think that they add a beautiful touch. That is real leather coming across, and then the spine is done with lace and cheesecloth and just kind of mumbled together fabrics. And then I did kind of gild a little bit after I cleaned this one up. I did put a little bit of the gold antiquing wax over these highlighted areas here because I could see that the original had that. So I just touched it up ever so slightly. And then there's the back, all grunged up and pretty. Corners are grungy, beautiful. And very quickly I'll flip through this. This is the vintage trim, vintage buttons. I left the insides of the book covers as they are. You can see that the back one is so much more aged than the front. And then vintage buttons as well. And then as you flip through, I mentioned in the other ones that the ledger pages are from the 1800s. Hopefully we'll find a year on one of these. I tried to put equal numbers of written on ledger papers in each one. This is a wooden ruler segment right there that's been grunged up. And I've kind of doubled up that paper for added stability because of the weight of the ruler. But that means that on this one, that's journaling space on the back of that music page. You can't actually see the music page. Some vintage trim there, more ledger paper. These are vintage marriage and I think baptismal registration papers, unused. This is paper from an old photo album where I've broken them down and kind of have them peeking out the edge of the journal just for visual, personality. And then I hinged it on like that so that when you open it up, it's like a little book. Okay, there's the ledger paper, straw paper. Oh, and this is one of my favorites. Oh my gosh, I love this so much. So I used one of the photo frames pages from one of the original photo albums there, and I put this paper with this grungy up print, and it was like that already, all torn and tattered, of a bird. And then I added a feather over here, so it almost looks like the bird is looking at a feather. And again, this one just kind of really, there's where I put a piece of the broken down fragile paper that's on some of these frame pages. The paper just peels away. It's so fragile and old. So I like to just kind of glue those randomly on other pages just for visual interest. Paper ruffle coming down the edge of that page. A pinafore card with the wire closure envelope. This is just grungy up paper that I kind of just glued down there with some other paper. And then the ledger paper. I was trying to see if I see a year anywhere on this one. I see months and days. I don't see years on these. I know that they're 1800s because the other ones, you can see the actual years where, they've been documented. This is one of the tab cards. This is one of the car tags, car sticker tags. I love these. I love these. I love the way the numbers peek out. Can you see that on camera? So I love the visual interest that that adds by just using it as a tab on a page. I just love kind of different things like that. This is a image of a bird's nest with eggs in it, and then I did this little tool cluster there, and these almost to me mimic the eggs that are in that nest. I just love it. I trimmed the edge there with some of the blue fabric. I thought it kind of just pulled the colors out of these tones over here, and then a little cameo here in the corner. And then this is the page where I attached that little digital print. You can see where paper had peeled off of this photo page, and I just literally went in and glued some other papers over it. Just fun. It's fun. Here is the envelope that these card tags come in, and I just put that in there. In all likelihood, I probably at some point had put a rusty paper clip there, because that was what I was doing with most of these. But I am going to assume that that has fallen out at some point. We might come across it as we flip through. It may have fallen between the pages. There's one of those pins that I was talking about previously on the other flip through. So I was saying that on most of these I am taping the back of them because they were wanting to pop open. On this one I did not. It was staying closed, and if I remember correctly, I think I added a dab of glue in there to help hold it, but it can always be, you know, covered up, or the pin can be removed and stitched on. It's the strings from the center of the signature. I do give ideas on what to do with those. I was trying to see if there was a year on this one. This is like a burlap style bow, and I love the contrast of that bow. That you can see it's layered, but I love the contrast of that on the straw paper with some of the shipping tape behind it. I just think that is such a pretty contrast, seeing the layering there. So that is what I did there. Y'all, these are just so fun. You go in and you just hinge in pages and just hinge in stuff, things that bring out your personality to this old book. How cool to give this book a new life with your personality. I love that. And here's a metal plate label kind of thing that I've put onto this photo card. The vintage lace, more of the ledger paper. I'm trying to do this in a quick way. Okay, the string has worked itself down between the signature there. I'm trying to do this in a quick way, but I also want to represent everything that's in this for anyone that's coming over from Etsy and is just wanting to see what this listing is. So it's very hard not to sit and point out things that I've already talked about in other flip throughs. This is beautiful vintage trim there, and it's like a crocheted feeling. I gave the paper extra stability by layering some other pages on it. Keep layering it to just, again, do whatever you want to add your personality. Ledger paper. I hinged this on with, and I used the doubled up straw paper as a hinge on this. This is some of that old black photo paper out of one of the other photo albums. Okay, and this completes the flip through of this journal, Bells. If you do have any questions, please let me know in the comments below, or you can message me on Etsy. I am happy to answer questions. And that completes the flip through of Bells. So guys, that's all of the small journals so far that I have made. I say so far because what I have left, if they don't sell, like if the kits don't sell, I do have a couple I'm probably going to list as a whole photo album kind of thing, because I'm having a hard time. These pages create a pattern. See that? And so some of these that are in such beautiful condition, I'm having a hard time breaking them up to put in kits, but I might. I'm just playing with ideas right now, but this is what I do have so far in the way of kits. I have 3 kits that are complete with a antique photo album cover. So I'm going to kind of show everything for each kit in case anyone is coming over from Etsy and is wanting to see exactly what they're going to get in the kit. And if you know me at all, if you don't, hello, nice to meet you. I have weird ways that I think, but I try to always put a personality, almost like a, I guess a concept is the right word. I try to use these as concept journals slash ideas. So I just try to create a life out of these things, these journals, so that yeah, your own personality can shine through in something that is so old. So I come up, my point to that is I come up with really weird names sometimes. I named this one Four Corners because this was one I decided to use in a kit and not make one myself because it was pretty well undamaged for the most part. It does not have a spine, but it does have all of the little beads on the four corners, which was rare to find. And I wanted someone that gets a kit not to have so much work to do with trying to figure out what to do when one of these are missing. I do talk about that in the little tutorial. So what I'm talking about when I say tutorial is anyone that purchases one of the kits, again, there's 3 of them, I will send you a private link to a kind of a process of how I made one of these. And I don't have cameras set up at my drill or at my sewing machine, so some of it I'm kind of just talking through, but then some of it I'm actually showing what I do. And what I kind of wanted to do as I talk about each one of these 3 kits is I'm going to do a little add-on to the video where I go over each one of these covers and talk about what I would do with them. But with that being said, I encourage you to come up with your own way of doing things. That's part of the beauty of getting a kit yourself, is that you can put yourself into it as you create it. And I think that is a wonderful thing. Not all of us want to do that, so that's why I also enjoyed making journals for people. But it's so awesome to have the opportunity to get one of these in a kit and put your own self into it. So every I'm not even going to talk about every kit. I'm going to talk about this kit in case anyone's coming over. And then again, if you want the little tutorial link and buy one of these kits, I'll send you the tutorial link, and in that tutorial I will post at the end each one of these and give you little ideas of what to do to help, I call it plastic surgery on these. So this is the journal cover. This would be the front. You would build out your spine, and this would be the back. If you do not want to create a journal out of this, let me tell you what I am doing with, so one of the small journals had a cover with no back. The cover was so in bad shape. I'm going to use the cover as a page in my journal that I made for myself. I'm trying to see, it may even be tucked in here. Let's see it. So yeah, I'm going to actually go in. You'll see stuff poking out everywhere because I've been adding stuff to mine. I've actually been journaling in this. And one day I will show a flip through of this, but these are all things I'm going to go back and add to mine. And yeah, so anyway, this is not the cover, but there is a cover I'm going to hinge into mine as a page. I just love that. To me, they're beautiful, and I want to do that. Oh, here's the cover. So yeah, here's the cover, and it does actually have a back. It's just too, I think it's too grungy. You can see it was originally blue. It did have a back. I thought it was missing the back, but it says Mother on it, and I love that. The mother is sideways on this. So yeah, I'm going to attach that as a page in mine. Oh boy, I'm getting off subject. Sorry. Get back on track here. This is the cover that you would get in your kit. Your kit will have a section of a wooden ruler that has been all grunged up, and these I use as accents to poke out of the journals. I think that they add personality. But again, if you choose not to use that in this kit, you'll have it for another one. Same with any of this. I put one random metal plate, name plate kind of thing. I have a bag of these, and I put one random one in each kit, so that's the one that will be in this kit. These, I was told, are hotel room numbers, very old, that were posted outside of a hotel room door. I just got these in, so they're not in the journals that I created. Plus, they're pretty pricey. I was trying to keep the price point affordable on these kits, but I also wanted to put some of me into these kits, and these are the things I love, so I tried to use things that, you know, represented Scribbles in Time in the best way, but I really was trying to keep these affordable, because I know I use a lot of things that I pay a lot of money for, and that does drive price points up, and I know that that's a struggle. I have it myself. These cameos, I put a pink and a dark one in the kit so that you have the option of either. I put two. Now these are not vintage, but they look like, so I used vintage buttons on, I'm trying to remember the name of the one it's sold, but it's the one I did the tutorial on, and it came out of my vintage buttons. So I got on Amazon and found these that look almost identical to those, a little bit different, but I say almost identical because one of the things I loved about these is when the buttons are right side up, obviously they're beautiful. They're beautiful. But for some reason, when you flip them upside down, they get this, I don't know, the look is a little bit different. And so I love the way they look upside down. You can kind of see the difference. That one's right side up, that one's upside down. I don't know how well it's showing up on camera, but I love that. Anyway, so yeah, that's the buttons. Two of these grungy pieces of metal. They have rust on them, and I used them, as you can see on this one, with a bead on it like that, kind of balanced there in the center, and I ran my strings through them and through the hole in the cover of the journal to secure that down. So that you're going to get two of these. Now on a lot of the journals, I hung them from the center of signatures. So yeah, they're just cool. You can attach them to the edge of a page like a tab. How cool is that? Yeah, there's just, I love this grungy up metal. And if you don't want a kit, if you don't get a kit, look around for things like this. This stuff is just cool accent pieces. This is a zipper pull. I put two in the kit. I think these are really pretty, hanging off of the strings in the center of a signature. I've also set and sewn them on to pieces of the fabrics. And then you can even, there's one, and I may not have it in arm's reach, but there's one where I even ran a bunch of thread through the one end and attached it at the other end, so I had like a tassel hanging off of it. So anyway, many options on these. Okay, the pins I've popped the backs off of because these were the ones that kept wanting to pop open. So I didn't want anyone to get stuck. You can actually stitch this on to a piece of your fabric or glue it, whichever you're more comfortable with doing, but I think it is so dainty and pretty and just such a cute little accent piece poking out of a journal. These are crystal watch parts. I love that they have these numbers on them. To me, they are beautiful as a tab sticking off of a page where the number and letters show. So I just love these as a page tab. So I put one of those in the kit, and there is an actual watch crystal in there. The watch crystals are beautiful as like to put over a letter or a word. If you have a book page as a page, you put that crystal over a word, and it almost looks like a little magnification glass for that word. These are the old Pinafore cards. So I talk about these many times in other videos. I have these in my shop. I did put a kind of a masculine one and a feminine one in each of them, but I love the backs of these as much as the fronts. Awesome. I love these cards. This is the card tags. They come in one of these kind of a waxy vellum style paper with this print on it and this card tag sticker in there. And again, I talk about this in a flip through just a moment ago about how you can put this on a page so that the number pokes through. Like that, so that it shows from the outside of the journal. This is one of the envelopes with the wire top closure. These, again, trying to keep price points down, but these were so expensive. These are old. You can see where the rust of the other card that had been on top of this, these have metal. Oh my gosh, my mind went blank. Is it eyelets? Oh my goodness. So it has the little metal there that attaches this hinge, which is very dimensional. Can you see that? Am I going the wrong way there? So see, you can see that that is very dimensional tab. Plastic, and you can see where the rust of the one that had been on top of it left a mark on this one. Love it. But these are awesome to slide in your journals as a press board. For this size journal is perfect to put behind a page. I've been using it in mine. You can use this behind a page so that when you write, you're pressing onto something. This is the little tool with the beads that are attached to it. They started their lives out as pins. I've removed the pins on these because they were too wide and it caused this to be too thick in a book, in my opinion. So I just chose on this one to remove them in the kits so that they sit more flat on a page. And then this is a tabbed vintage divider card. Again, when it's poking out of a journal, the tab will fall in whatever position that you're using it in, but it is just cool for that waterfall look on the edge of your page. A little bell. These are not vintage. Can't remember where I ordered them. I think Amazon. They are not vintage, but they are cool to me because they look old, and I love the sound. Okay, and then one more little pen. I thought this was just a pretty accent pen to use on the edge of a page. You can see like that, or on the center of a page, whatever, but it's just beautiful. These are all the pages out of the random photo albums. I want you to see just how worn out they are. I'm sorry that the dog is outside barking. I put the dog outside and now they're going to bark right outside the window. You can see the old tape on these. Oh, I love how old these look, but I want you to realize how old these really or how represented they are of their age because of how tattered they are. So I want you to recognize that, you know, before you make the choice to purchase a kit. I put some in each kit that have doubled, and then single ones. They're all just grungy and old. Some have writing on them, some don't. They're just very random. That's why I really wanted to try to show these on each flip through. I don't guess this would be called a flip through. So since I've talked so much on this one, I'm going to try not to talk a whole lot on the other two because they all have pretty much the same items. But I do want you to have the opportunity to see what your kit would contain if you choose to purchase a kit. So let's talk about that very quickly on each of these. So this one I'm calling Kisses because it has this X in the middle, and I know that most of you have heard of XOXO. Well, the X in XOXO stands for kisses, and so I chose to call this one Kisses. So that's my funny little weird Tanya name for this one. Okay, so again, I'm not going to talk about all this because I've already talked about it in the first one, but here's this. The pen is removed. The bell, the golden pen there, golden tone pen. So all I need is for somebody to say, you told me I was going to get a gold pen. The buttons. Here is the number plate from the hotel room. They said these were what was on the walls outside of a hotel room door long ago. One thing, so it was in the other kit and it may have gotten stuck down in the box. So yeah, every kit is going to have or these three kits. I don't know if I'll do future kits, but these were all I had of these. Some of these photo albums had like random pieces of the closures, so I popped those off because they couldn't be used in them, and they're beautiful page tabs. So this one will come with this kit here. I'm pretty sure there was one. I didn't show it. I missed that, so sorry. So yeah, this is the one that will be in the kit with 4 corners. So these were closures off of the original photo albums. Okay, so, and this is the one that would be in Kisses. Okay, the little watch crystal. And there's a watch crystal inside. This one feels like an oblong one. I'm not going to open it. The little cameos, the pen there, the metal plate that can be tied on to a page, the little pieces of grungy metal, the zipper pulls. That one has a really funky bend to it, which I love. It gives it dimension when you attach it to something. Love that. Anyway, okay, so the cover itself, let's look at that real quick. There is no writing on the insides, obviously no spine. you would build your own spine. Again, you will have if you reach out and let me know that you want the video that shows what my processes were and what my thought processes are for this cover, I will send that to you as part of your purchase of the kit. And yeah, there's the back and the front. The Pinafore cards, the little envelope with the car sticker tag in it, the grungied up segment of a wooden ruler, the wire envelope, the 2 little tabbed cards. You can see the rusty spots are there from the card that had been on top of it. Okay, and then the pages out of some of these old photo albums. Again, I tried to put some double ones in every kit, like this. Oh, this one's tight. See, very tight. I would probably break that one apart to actually use it. But God, look how cool that is. Love it. Okay. So this is what you will get if you choose to purchase. Oh, y'all, I've got to take a minute and tell you about this too. In these, oh, I wish I had another one right here at me because I don't want to take this one out. Oh, my goodness. Okay, I'm going to see if I have one right here to show you. So in those pages, in the center of those frames, here they are. I do have some. Are these little pieces of paper. And when you use these in a journal, sometimes you want this to be open so that if you attach something like a feather or a little label or something in there to show through, you want this open. So these pages slide out. So some of these kits will have, some of the lucky ones will have these with this paper in it. And I just want to show you this paper. It is such pretty, pretty paper. I love it. I love it. It's so old. Oh, love it. I wanted to show that because I think that is just such a little neat thing. This one has it in there. See, that one's wanting to come out. I didn't realize that, or I would have just used that one. Goofball me. Sorry. Okay, let's get this one put back in its box. One more to cover with you, and we will be done. So again, I don't know. I have a couple of more of the photo albums, not many. I don't think I'm going to make kits out of those. I just don't know that I can bring myself to break them down. But if you are interested, reach out to me. My email is scribblesintime@gmail.com. I would request that you email me for that, because if I don't have it listed on Etsy, I just don't like to talk about something that I'm not selling on Etsy. I did it. I've had so many people message me about these photo albums before I posted them on Etsy, and I did respond to a few of you because I just felt like it was unfair that my confusion was confusing others. Typical me. But anyway, so I did respond to a few people, and then I just kind of stopped. So if you're somebody I didn't respond to, please know that it was because I'm not comfortable, you know, selling outside of Etsy, but then using Etsy as my way of communicating. So anyway, I have an email for that if you ever feel the need to email me. The crystal, the buttons, the little gold pen, the cameos, the grungy metal. So this kit, I should have said that already. So the name of this one, and I don't know why I named this one Castle, but I named it Castle because for some reason, to me, when I think of the concept of the life that I would want to give to this journal, it would involve, I don't know why, it just has that kind of a medieval, elegant feel about it, and for some reason I'm thinking of a castle. I named it Castle. I don't know why. The piece of a grungy ruler, the bell, the pen. This is the metal plate for that one. The zipper pulls. And this is the piece of the photo album closure of one of the random photo albums that you can use in this as a page tab, or run a little piece of twine through that hole and have it as the dangle off of one of these little nubs that are poking out. Again, I'll talk more about my ideas for each one of these covers in the video if you request that video and purchase a kit. So this is the number you would get with this kit. With that metal plate. These are the Pinafore cards. The decal envelope. Look how that hole is so off-centered. How cool. I love that. I guess in the machining process of where, I don't know, I guess it got lopsided. Okay, the wire on the top of the envelope. The index cards, vintage. And did I show the journal well enough? So the inside has no writing. This would be the front. This would be the back. Or either or. You could do it either way. In fact, there's part of me that thinks it would be cool to run a piece of string through those two holes and hang a charm there and hang a charm there. And then on these little nubs, you could literally tie something there so that that lays flat on your table surface. Anyway, just a thought. These are the cards that you would get with this kit. There is writing on those. I'm trying to go fast, y'all. I've really got to hurry up. I've got to get my dad to his cardiologist. So I've got to get in there and get him ready. This one has some of that paper in it. Love that paper. It is a double one. The paper's only on one side. And then here's this one. Okay, paper inside of that one. Look how you can see that oval. Is that showing up on camera? You can see that where I guess light or something created an image on that piece of paper of an oval. Oh, I love that. Love that. Love that. That's just so me. Okay, I have learned a lot about myself in this process. I'll talk about that another time. I really have, doing that little tutorial that I did of my process on this, taught me a lot about myself that I found very obvious and kind of somewhat explains a lot about me. But anyway, I'll talk about that another time. I've rambled enough. So yeah, I'm going to have all of these posted in my Etsy shop before this video uploads so that if anyone's interested, you can head straight over and get it. If it hasn't already sold, I've had some people reaching out about them. But I just keep trying to tell people to wait and watch the video because I want you to see exactly what you're getting. Okay, so any questions, let me know. Thank y'all for watching, and y'all have a blessed day. I love you.